Groceries, out of rats, eating fried chicken at your mom's ass. Fried chicken, gotta eat my fried chicken, gotta eat my fried chicken, gotta eat my fried chicken.
Hello there guys, what is going on? Hope you're all having a wonderful day. First and for all, I want to say thank you for all the likes and views that I've had. Well, likes and views on my last video, the Become True Ahamkara build. I didn't expect that to get as many views as it did. I know that video was also very sloppy, and I hope that this one's going to be a bit better. So, anyways, what are we looking into today? Well, today I got something for you Solar Titans out there, and specifically you Solar Titans, because if there is any Titan you should be playing, it is Solar Titan. And today it is all going to be about this neat little aspect right here. Consecration. While sliding, activate your charged melee ability to launch a wave of solar energy forward, damaging and scorching targets in front of you as you leap into the air. While airborne, activate your charged melee again to slam the ground and create a second, larger wave of damaging solar energy. If the wave hits a scorched target, they ignite. So this is already really nice because it says here if that secondary wave hits any scorched target from any source whatsoever, may that even be from one of your teammates, it's gonna ignite them. So that is really nice. For my secondary aspect, I'm using Sol Invictus. Very simple. It gives restoration, and when you stand inside a sunspot that you create from any source, it's going to give you that extra little bit of ability regeneration. So this is just honestly something I never take off, and because of how powerful Consecration is, I don't really feel the need for Roaring Flames, so we're kind of leaving that one out here. As for the fragments, we're using Ember of Torches to give us Radiant on a powered melee hit. We are using Ember of Searing. Defeating scorched targets grants melee energy and creates a Fire Sprite. This is really nice because the Fire Sprite is going to give us more grenade energy, but defeating scorched targets is going to directly build into giving us more melee energy for Consecration itself. Next up, we've got Ember of Solace. Radiant and Restoration effects applied to you have an increased duration. This is something that you could honestly just change out for anything else. I personally like this one. I guess you could swap it out for Ember of Empyrean, where that solar ability and weapon final blows extend the duration of Radiant and Restoration applied to you. This is pretty nice, but I like this one. Then we also have Ember of Ashes. You apply more scorched attacks to targets. This one is really nice because we want as many scorched attacks as we can possibly get, and I think it has a neat little interaction with Hammer Strike. Yes, I'm using Hammer Strike purely for the fact that I can use it for mobility, and, well, it's actually not that bad of an ad clearing tool itself as well if you feel like using it. For some reason, it also seems to ignite targets no matter what. I've had this happen a couple of times. I don't know why this is, I couldn't tell you, but it happens. But if you want to switch this out for Throwing Hammer, which would be a little bit better in endgame content if you want to give yourself Radiant, then I would totally recommend using that as well. For the super, I would recommend Hammer of Soul, but you can use whatever you like if you feel confident playing it in certain areas. I'd say areas where there's a lot of open space, Burning Maul would just be fun to use, but Hammer of Soul is always reliable. Oh, and obviously for the grenades we're using Firebolts, because this seasonal artifact has two mods which are great, called Flare Up. Firebolt grenades apply more scorch attacks, damaging a combatant with a Firebolt grenade spawns a Fire Sprite near them. So that is really nice, so that's extra Fire Sprites that we can gain from this, and also extra scorch attacks. And then we also have Rain of Firebolts. When you have a Firebolt grenades equipped, you gain a secondary charge, so two of these, why the heck not? This will probably change in the next season where that we don't have this anymore, but I'll be going for this. Other mods that I recommend is anything to do with your grenade cooldown, Solar Surge, anything to do with solar, and honestly, I'd say also authorized solar mods. So yeah, that's pretty much everything from the seasonal artifact. As for the exotic, we'll get into that in just a moment. As for the gameplay, let's take a look. So, this build is a lot of fun. I'll get into the mods in just a moment. But as you can see, yeah, it's fun using this thing. Let's be honest, most people just took a look at this and thought it was great, but then realized that something in the form of Roaring Flames is just miles better, so everybody uses that with throwing hammers, and I'm not gonna lie, it is very, very good. But I wanted to use something, damn Drake hiding, I wanted to use something that not everybody uses, because that is kind of my thing. I like looking into the more obscure things that people don't seem to use as much, and I want to see if I can make them very viable or very fun to use. And honestly, from what you're going to start seeing now, it is very viable. It is great against unstoppable champions, because unstoppable champions will just be instantly ignited because of what you can do with Consecration. Obviously, if it's high-end content, probably not as good, but this is more of like a casual play and mid-play, like, kind of like, you know, seasonal, like, activity kind of play. I really enjoy it for that specifically. But either way, yeah, I love this thing. It feels great to use. I love using the Consecration because it just feels very Titan. And with everything that I've got going on, I am using this like crazy. I'm gaining a lot of ability regeneration from this, and honestly, I think this is the most fun that I can say that I've ever had on Solar Titan. It just absolutely slaps. Also, I'm going to try something with Hammer Strike on these guys up here. I failed. I was trying to hit him with Hammer Strike, see if I could get the ignition thing going, but we'll take a look at that in just a moment. Let's just make sure I don't die here, because that would be embarrassing in this lost sector. Weapons of choice. Callus Mini Tool is honestly really great, especially with Incandescent. I would highly recommend using that. However, this grenade launcher with explosive light on it is also going to be a really nice thing to take with you for heavy. I like using things along the line of Xenophage as well, because Xenophage has just been a huge help for me this season. I don't know why, it just feels good to be using it, especially with the Solar Surge that we have going on. I'll show you that in just a moment. Here we go. So that's the gameplay right there. Let's take a look at the mods. For the mods, we're going to be using Harmonic Siphon to get Orbs of Power on Solar Weapon Final Blows of your choice. I'm not going to tell you what you want to use because that's completely up to you, but I totally recommend Callus Mini Tool. Then, hands-on. This one is going to be great because with the amount of times that you're going to be using Consecration and definitely getting kills with it, you're going to be getting a lot of super energy on this, and you're going to want your super not for use, but for something else, which we'll have a look in just a second. And the rest all just kind of ties in. The only thing that doesn't is heavy-handed. Your powered melee final blows create Orbs of Power. I think that kind of speaks for itself, considering how much we're going to be using this, so definitely keep that. And then we want Charged Up on the chest. We want Time Dilation, 2 of them, to get a nice long duration on it. The last slot is honestly down to you. You can use whatever you like here. I like using Benevolent Finisher to create extra Orbs of Power for my teammates. But for the rest, we want to use Font of Vigor, Font of Focus, and 3 Solar Weapon Surges, maybe 2 if you want to swap out one of them for Invigoration to gain even more melee energy on your orb pickups, but we're already getting so much ability regeneration that I would just say go for 3 of these. They only cost 1 this season, and it is so much fun to have that much damage on your weapons almost all the time because of the fact that you have Charged Up and you also have 2 time dilations. With this, we're going to have 4 stacks of Charged Up, which is just going to be insanely powerful on continuously keeping up our damage, but also our ability regeneration, which is where this comes in. We have Font of Vigor for that melee recharge rate, and for our grenades, also Font of Focus, so you really don't need to put any stats into Discipline and Strength whatsoever, because this will honestly do the job for it, which is where the final piece of all of this comes together, Hallow Fire Hard. Yeah, when's the last time you used this thing? Well, for those of you who have forgotten or don't know, Hallow Fire Heart does the following. Improves the recharge rate of your solar abilities. Greatly improves the recharge rate while your super is charged. Provides a small benefit to airborne effectiveness stat of all weapons. I think that last bit is new. Pretty nice, not important, but it's new. So if we take a look at the recharge rate, it's actually pretty fast. If we have our supercharged and we don't have Font of Vigor going, or even Font of Focus, you can see the recharge rate on my grenades and on my melee is pretty darn fast. So why do I have this? Why Hallowfire Hard? Well, it actually speaks for itself. While you're in a strike, you're not always going to have 100% of all the kills, just like in this Lost Sector. So in downtime between groups of enemies, and if you're not getting all the kills, this really makes up for it. I also really wanted to use this thing again because it really fits the theme, and it's been a very long time since I've actually seen this thing in use. So overall, this is the build. It is insane. For your heavy weapon, I would recommend Gjallarhorn to support your teammates, and if somebody else is using Galley, I'd recommend Ascendancy. It's still a very powerful rocket launcher. Xenophage, really high damage with all those solar weapon surges. This thing has seriously been carrying me through the campaign. And last but not least, Parasite. It's already overpowered, and we've got to feed that worm, so feed it with even more power from your Radiant buff from your melees, and obviously those 3 solar weapon surges. So overall, yeah, this is it. I'm also going to show you a little bit of damage on bosses, so we're going to move over to Carl in just a second here, so that you can see how Hammer Strike actually can apply Scorch to targets and just immediately ignite them, but also Consecration doing decent damage to bosses itself. Either way, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Hope you have a good day. Leave a comment, leave a like, it's much appreciated. I really hope that I can do something with this channel, because I'm really enjoying build crafting in Lightfall. I know Lightfall has a little bit of a rough start, and its reputation is very mixed right now, but I think we can all agree and say that the gameplay is pretty fun. Personally, I'm quite liking that content is getting a little bit harder. This means I have to focus up a little bit more, and it makes me think more about my builds than I ever have before. So if there's anything else that you guys would like me to take a look in, or see if I could somehow make one of your beloved exotics, which is no longer meta or good anymore, if you want to make it good somehow again, please let me know. I'll see what I can come up with. I really enjoy doing this. This is what I'm doing in my pastime in Destiny all the time. I literally woke up one morning and I was like, hey, I want to build around Consecration and Hallowfire Heart. I definitely can make that work. And, well, what do you know? I did. So let's move over to Carl, and then I bid thee a good night and farewell until the next time. Hey there guys, so I actually found out why that Hammer Strike makes targets ignite. It makes them ignite because it's lower tier enemies. So basically not bosses, but any enemies which are like normal tier, like Minotaurs and maybe some Colossus or stuff. If you can actually kill them with your Hammer Strike, you will ignite them because the Sunspot spawns immediately as you kill them. So this is actually still really nice because you can use this to trigger an ignition really quickly without the follow-up of something like Consecration. So if I've got all the enemies here, I just kill one, and that makes the ignition, which will then hit everything nearby it. However, that is something just for more of like an ad clearing tool as well, if you need a little bit more speed. But if we're actually going to look at Carl himself, this is where we use Consecration on him. So he's lost a little bit of health right now because he did get hit by that ignition, and well, now I have stable essence, so I'm just gonna wait real quick for that to run out. I hate that is like here. It's such a problem. And there we go. So if we just use normal Consecration on him with everything combined, yeah, that does a decent chunk to his health. So overall, I do still like using it for that, especially if you want to trigger that ignition itself. It is just so satisfying to do so. So yeah, overall, that's pretty much it. I'm going to leave up here for the rest of the gameplay to be the rest of the Lost Sector, and I'll see you guys next time. Take care.
All the groceries, all the rest, eating fried chicken, that's your mom's ass. Fried chicken, gotta eat my 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 fried chicken. Boom, boom. Fried chicken when I read on my Bible. Pew, pew. Fried chicken when I look at my title. Fried chicken when I'm looking on Google. Yeah. Fried chicken when I'm going to go scuba diving. Fried chicken when I...
What's my favorite gun? Flaming hammers!